Do you know what? I've learned a heck of a lot in my time as a business owner. I've been running my own business since 2005, which is equal parts depressing and, I guess, inspiring, maybe? I mean, it explains a lot of the grey hairs that I've got. And one of the things that I've learned is that as a business person, you've got to be purposeful with your time, and in particular, purposeful with how you network. And I believe that podcasters can learn a lot from the realm of business, because ultimately, you know, if you're a podcaster, you are a brand, whether or not you like it, all right? So I'm going to dig into that today here on the Podcast Accelerator, the thrice-weekly show, bringing you news, insights, and industry talk from behind the scenes of the podcasting industry, pulling back the curtain on the podcasting world and demystifying a lot of the jargon and a lot of the crap that goes on. This, like I said, is brought to you by me, Mr. Mark Asquith. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Rebel Base Media. I am that British podcast guy. Apparently, that's what people tell me. And, of course, I'm always here to help. Podcasting is what I do. I adore it. In fact, my Wi-Fi password in the office is podcasting is our life. I kid you not. Granted, I didn't set that up. Thank you, Ed. So, if you ever come down to the office, jump on the Wi-Fi. It's all good. Now, before I get to this session, I want to just dive in and let you know that AWeber is still giving you 90 days. 90 days, that's right. 90 days to try their email marketing platform. Why should you be doing that? Well, if you're not engaging with your audience, then you are missing a trick. And you own your email list. When people sign up and consent to receive email from you, you own that data. Unlike Facebook, Discord, any of these new fancy community apps popping up for podcasters, you own the data, all right? It's silly not to do this. So please, if you are not doing email contact with your audience, I implore you to please start. Go and do that for 90 days free at markasquith.com/AWeber. Now, I'm known for moving pretty quickly and somehow been able to access difficult places and people in a relatively short amount of time. Why is that? Because my vision is very, very clear. I don't always know how I'm going to get to achieve that vision, but the vision is always very, very clear, and my purpose is highly focused. And I believe the lesson that allows me to move quickly and that allows me to achieve the things that I achieve, often way before other people think I should be able to achieve them, is a lesson that you can learn from the business world and that can be applied to podcasting too. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, when it comes to podcasting, when it comes to business, what you find is that you have no decision filter. You have no decision filter. So what you do is, when you're faced with a decision, like, should I go to this meeting? Should I go to that meeting? Should I say yes to this thing? Should I say yes to this thing? Should I say no to that thing? Or any decision that crosses your desk, all right? You have got generally no filter. You assess it on its own merit. So a sponsor comes along and they throw you 10 grand or 5 grand or 2 grand or $100, whatever fits your budget, and you're like, right, okay, listen up. All I'm doing is I'm assessing this opportunity as it stands right now. That's not how it works, all right? You don't achieve the big things as quick as you can by doing it like that. Instead, you've got to be clear with your vision. Let's use an example of Captivate. I truly believe that within the next 2 years, Captivate will be one of the top 2 podcast hosts. I've got in mind who the other one will be, and I know why I believe they will be that, and I think it will be them and us as the top 2 choices in podcast hosting. The reason for that is clear, because of our vision for the product and also how we do business. Now, what does that mean for decision making? Well, very, very simply, it means that if any opportunity comes across my desk, I assess it using this question, and it comes with networking as well. And I'm going to get to that in a second. The question that I ask myself is: if I say yes to this, will that take me one step closer to being fulfilled in? Will it take me one step closer? I can't even speak. Will it take me one step closer to fulfilling that vision? All right? Yes or no? If I say yes to this thing, will it take me closer to fulfilling that vision? If the answer is yes, I will say yes to it. If the answer is no, then I simply won't do it. Now, when I'm in a networking space, when I'm in a networking opportunity, let's kind of turn this around and go back to this sponsor kind of idea with podcasts, right? So you envisage that your show is going to be the number 1 health and fitness podcast in the UK by 2021, all right? But then someone comes along and you decide to yourself, well, actually, I want Under Armour as a sponsor. I'm just picking these out of thin air. I don't know if they're sponsor podcasts. I want Under Armour as a sponsor, whatever. And then someone else comes along. Let's say someone like Adidas comes along or Nike come along, and they offer you a 6-month or a 3-month sponsorship deal, and you say yes to that. Actually, does that stop you getting a longer-term commitment from someone like an Under Armour later, because you're actually co-branding or sub-branding these episodes now, so later you couldn't possibly dynamically insert Under Armour ads into them without it being a conflict. Now, that's a very specific example, but what it shows and what it exercises is this long-term thinking. This idea that actually, right, in 2 years' time, I will probably have produced, 104 episodes, 1 a week, 52 weeks a year, 104 episodes. In order to be able to sell this inventory to someone like an Under Armour, I'm going to have to be with a host that supports dynamic ad insertion. Ergo, I can then sell that back catalogue to an Under Armour and thus just negotiate a better package. But if this 6 episodes in the middle are sponsored by Adidas or by Nike, actually, that could be a deal breaker in the future. So for this $2,000 now, as amazing as it would be to have it, it might not be the right choice long term. All right. So this is the goal of a podcasting vision. Now, what about networking? Because this is what this episode is about. What about networking? Right. Okay. So I always network with purpose. Okay. I know that for me to do what I need to do, I need to be working and talking to certain people in the industry. Now, I will always give everyone the time of day. I will go for a coffee, for a beer, for a whiskey, jump on a call, I will talk to everyone from the perspective of how can I help them. However, I know that I need help too. So to be able to get to where I want to get to, I have got to start putting building blocks and stepping stones in place pretty early. Some of the advisors that we've got for Captivate, some of the people that I now class as friends, colleagues, and people that I work with very, very dearly, were people that I held in such high regard 5 years ago that I never thought that I would get to them, but I knew that I wanted to, and I knew in order to do that, I had to be around them, and to be around them, I had to actually be in the places they were at, and thus, I started attending places, and I was very purposeful about, do you know what? I want to work with this person in maybe 3, 4, 5 years. All I'm going to do now is make sure that I'm on their radar, that they know who I am, and that we've shared a drink, that I've bought the drink, and that's it. No pressure. I'm just going to find a bit of common ground, and I'm going to park that up. And then later, the next time I see them, I become friends, and we genuinely build friendships. We get to know whether we're right for each other, and then when the time is right, the opportunity presents itself, and actually you have the bigger conversation that you'd strategized and maybe planned 3, 4, 5 years ago. And as a podcaster, you can be doing that, because guess what? People still attend things in your niche. So let's say that you do want Under Armour and you want them as a sponsor. You don't spend 600 quid going to a podcasting conference. You spend 600 quid going to a conference that the marketing manager of Under Armour is at. And you say, I'm the #1 sports and fitness podcast in the UK. Or I've got a highly engaged audience. This is me. I'm on your radar. Okay? So it's purposeful networking. But you have to have the vision. You have to have the vision, all right? Now, if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to a vision, go and check out episode 71 of the Podcast Accelerator. It was released on the 11th of October. Episode 71 is called The Importance of a Podcasting Vision. Go and check that out. But what I want to try and get across here with this episode is the idea of being purposeful. Okay? Being purposeful and tying that to your vision. It's vital, all right? That lesson from business has served me well, and it can serve you and your podcasting brand exceptionally well as well. Okay? So thank you for joining me. Please tell your podcasting friends if they are looking for a show that is pretty straight talking and that does teach some elements of podcasting that other people aren't necessarily teaching. Give them this link. Just tell them they can go to markasquith.com or they can search for the Podcast Accelerator in their podcast app of choice. It will be a delight to do that with you. And until the next time, go and check out Captivate.fm for your hosting needs. And please never forget, the more you expect from yourself, the more you will excel.